So I thought I'd do a quick video on how I cut a saddle slot. So I mark the center line of the bridge blank, and hang on. And I have this contraption, and that's for tenor ukes, concert ukes, classical. Oh, and a little part under here, that's about a 6 or 7 degree wedge, and if you use one of those, and I recommend you do, although it's not essential obviously, but if you do, what it'll do is kick back slant the saddle 6-7 degrees, and that will just accommodate the slight rotation of the top due to string stuffs, and it's a smart thing to do. So that goes in there, and this is a little bit short here and here, so you can really jam it up there, so to speak. And then this line here, that's the center of this distance, and that distance is, I cut according to there and there for this particular router, and so this will be different for whatever router you buy, but I'm going for a 58mm slot. This is for ukes, any sized uke, and so I line up this line with that line, and this I can move just a little bit so it lines up. It's kind of hard to film this and do everything. Okay, so this line is irrelevant. What matters is really this line and this line, and because I've marked it here, this line. So what I do now, is clamp everything down after I double check it. And I'm using this little piece because when I made this jig, I made it so this fence provided the right distance from the front of the bridge to the front of the saddle slot. But when I made it, it was a little bit short, and it's always good to err on the side of caution. So now I do about 5 mils from this edge, front edge, to that edge. Even with the uke, it's kind of, which doesn't have much string tension, it's a good idea to have a nice amount of meat between the saddle and the front of the bridge. So I push this down so the 1/8 router bit touches the top of the bridge. Just clamp that down, and then I, just watching here, I go down about 2.5 mil. I don't actually measure it, I just visually look at it. Maybe a bit less. So that's the first cut, and this is going to be 2.5 mil ish. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to take the sound off this video. Okay, so just check that that's all going good. Put this back in here, drop it down to the bottom again, and then I look under here, and then I raise it up another 2.5 mil, which gives me 5 mil all up. So what's great about this jig here, it's a really fail-safe jig for dummies like me. So start at this end, and I can't screw up because this is solidly in there. And if I made this again, I'd make this fence, this part, and maybe this edge with Teflon, just so it was slippery. Or I'd make the whole thing out of Teflon, I suppose. Or I could just line this with Teflon, but I don't know what is best to stick Teflon to things. So, and there you have it. That's how I make a bridge. I got the basic idea of this from Aaron from Ukulele Underground, and the 7-degree taper is a Rick Turner thingy, and you can't see the angle there, but this, just say this is the saddle. The saddle will kick back about that much, which when a saddle is only 3 mil above the top of the bridge, it's a tiny amount, but I think the logic is there, so I'm doing this now. And Jake McClay does that, and others, don't know who others, but others. And yeah, I used to use a $10,000 milling machine in Australia to cut these saddle sluts, and that's good if you've got the space and the money, but this cost whatever that costs, I don't know, $80 or something. Yeah, it's a good method. So you only need that part, and the little wedgie bit, and this part, which is just a simple thing to make.